Hello and welcome back everyone. Jason Maraschiello here once again, and today I'm talking about something that really excites me, and I've spent quite a bit of my time throughout my travels in my life thinking about this concept, and that is human nature. Now, I'm not the first one to have put a lot of hours thinking about this. One of the earliest books that I remember reading was that of the philosopher Mencius. Now, Mencius was a Confucius philosopher, and he gave a lot of thought about human nature. He talked about how human nature, in his opinion, was innately benevolent. That yes, there's war, there's hurt in this world, but at its core, we want to be there for each other. We want to be in a community where we can care for each other. But sometimes things conflict with that. And it is the conflict that we have to recognize that, yes, maybe takes us away from it, but that our true nature is never lost. And I remember this is actually the inspiration that helped me develop my earliest speaking prop. So this is when I was primarily just speaking on wellness, and I created this little glowing orb here. And I'm going to try to sum up some of the stuff that Mencius was talking about using this metaphor I created. So now I believe that we all have this light growing inside. So let's let this light represent our true nature as humans. Now, I do believe that that is joy, bliss, happiness, love even, because I think that those things, joy, bliss, happiness, are the equation for love. So I think that that's who we all are. Underneath all of the complications, our drive is to be in this state of joy, of love. But from the moment that we're born and we emerge into this cold world, or even the first time our parents say, no, we can't have something, we start to create some layers, some complication to who we are. So if we imagine that each of us are an orb, then what makes me Jason and you, you? Well, that tends to be these layers. So the first time my parents tell me no, I take a little layer of emotions and I drape it over top of that just pure joy, happiness. And now you can tell, right, with only one layer, I can still see the light shining underneath this. But unfortunately, life tends to throw more things our way. So maybe that's the first time we skim our knee, we get another layer, or the first time, we go through a breakup or something emotionally challenging for us. That ends up, we can call these little T's or little traumas, but that creates another one of these layers. Now I start to lose sight. It's still shining through a little bit, but I start to lose sight of that light through these layers. And then these are the emotional layers, but we also have these intellectual layers and these identities that we grab as well. So I get my first job, and now I think, well, I am a teacher, I am a banker, I am a whatever that job is. Even that title starts to make me think that I am more than just that light, which we are, but these are tools. All of these elements that we accumulate in our lifetime, they are tools. They are not our identity. That's very important to remember. And what happens eventually is we keep collecting these false identities, these things that we somehow just continue to accumulate over our lifetime, is we accumulate so many that we start to lose sight of the light. And the light can't shine through anymore. And now the interesting thing, even in the darkest moment, when we can't see the light anymore, underneath all of these layers, it's still shining just as bright as it ever has. That bliss, that peace, that contentment, whatever you want to call it. Different cultures around the world have called it so many different things. And yet the continuous challenge that we have is finding that light that's already inside of us. And this is the idea that we go on a pursuit of happiness, and yet it's nothing that we can pursue because we actually have it the whole time. It's just underneath these layers. So instead of looking outward for things that bring us happiness, the reason why we have mindfulness practices or meditation practices is because they give us the opportunity to create some space from our layers, to maybe be able to sit beside our layers. And then we can see that light shining again. We can feel that light shining again. And from that perspective, that's also a very powerful place to be able to look at our layers sometimes and gain more perspective on the layers and see what's important to still be holding on to recognize that yes, these are tools, but they don't make us who we are. These things are not the things that bring us happiness. The happiness is within us. They maybe help us, yes, to survive in our society, and some of these layers are responsible for our jobs, and they're responsible for many things that allow us to keep existing so we can let our light shine, but it's there the whole time. So remember that as you go throughout your journey, throughout your life, whatever your day-to-day looks like, that we need to still have practices in our life, things that make us happy, things that allow us to create some space for some of those layers so that we can find that light. That's what Confucius, I believe, or sorry, what Mencius, I believe, was trying to say, and hopefully something about this can, in those moments where things are maybe a little bit dark, remind you that you have a light shining inside of you as well. And when you need it, it can be there for you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.